Right, hello, it's me, Connell, and this is the Utanium. Welcome back, one and all. A sentence I can actually say now because in the past 2 weeks we've had a little bit of a subscriber growth. Some 52 people so far, and to be honest, resurrecting a dead channel, that's not bad going. Thank you everyone for that. Just wanted to get that out of the way. While you're here, if you're not subscribed, big red button down there. Hit that, hit the notifications, find out when I'm posting. Hit the like button if you change your mind throughout the video. The dislike button's always there, and of course, leave me a comment with your thoughts on the video, any input you may have whatsoever. So as you probably surmised from the title of the video, we're going to be discussing the time I got robbed in London, which in and of itself doesn't seem like a particularly noteworthy topic because A, it's London, and B, look at me. Of course I got robbed while I was in London. But regardless, the London trip as a whole was quite eventful from start to finish. So I figured I'd make a video on it. It's quite a good wee yoke. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, backstory for London. Tying it into the last video with K-pop. Basically, BTS were playing in London, Wembley Stadium, and I figured I'm going to go to this. So I got myself the ticket when it was announced, when it dropped on Ticketmaster, and I didn't have the foresight to ask anyone if they were also going. So I ended up being the only one going, but the flight prices and the accommodation prices, they would have been too expensive for just me to go. So I asked a friend of mine to tag along, not to come to the concert, just to sort of go to London and enjoy it for a bit. So just like that, we had our party of two, we were set to go, and off we go, off we fly. Second big mistake, we went to Stansted Airport, prompting an hour-and-a-half train journey from there to where we were staying, which was the third mistake, Hammersmith. Now, if you're familiar with the geography of London, which I certainly wasn't at the time, Hammersmith's a bit of a jaunt away from Wembley Stadium. So we were screwed in that sense, because then we had to take mad journeys to get to Wembley in the first place. But that was all well and good. We got ourselves a nice dodgy B&B or hostel, whatever it was. And to be fair, it was quite okay for the price and the general reputation of hostels. It had lovely Romanian staff who were good banter, and a load of foreign nationals just living there, which was very pleasant. And I seen a few armies as well waltzing about the place. So the day we show up, we get our train from Stansted to Liverpool station, and we get on our train, and Dylan asks me if he thinks anything will go wrong, and I think that ruined the entire trip. That question alone, just done. That was it, game over, because as he asked that question, I realised that we had gotten on the train going the wrong direction. We ended up 5 stops down the wrong way, but eventually we got to the hotel. That was all well and good. We got ready to go out, because there was a bar nearby. There was a big bar nearby, and we wanted to test the nightlife of the place, which was all good crack when we got there. It was Australian and New Zealander night, so there wasn't a single Londoner there. Well, we thought there weren't any Londoners there for the vast majority of it, but we made quick pals with the Australians, and they were quite friendly folk. All in all, so far this hasn't been a bad journey. Then we meet 2 roadmen, big massive puffer jackets, but generally relatively friendly, which, you know, I wasn't expecting just based on the reputation I've heard. Regardless, we make friends with them. We never learn their names though, and the night ends. So while we were out, we had made friends with the girl who's also going to the concert. She got absolutely boogalooed, just completely on her arse drunk. So I was like, alright, well, her hotel isn't far from here. I'm gonna run to a cash machine, lift out some money, and just give it to a taxi driver, find out where she was staying, send her on her way. He can keep the 20, not a big deal. I went to look for an ATM while Dylan stayed back to make sure she didn't whack her head on the concrete. And the 2 roadmen were like, oh, well, we're going the same way. So let us guide you to your destination, in much more roadman terms than that. That was the gist of it. So we get to the ATM, and I'm punching in my PIN, chatting away to one of the guys, and the other guy is keenly watching as I input my PIN code. So I lift out the 20, put the card back in the pocket. So the guy that I was chatting to while my PIN was being keenly watched takes me aside, and he's like, hey you, let me put my number on your phone, so if you're ever in London again we can meet up and maybe I can provide you and your friend over there with some illicit substances. So I'm like, alright, they're fairly chill guys, I wouldn't mind getting a drink with them if I'm ever back. So I say yes because I'm drunk. And while all this is going on, the guy snagged my card from my pocket and is currently in the middle of lifting out all of my money while I'm chatting to this dude, and he comes back, so I start chatting to him, and the other guy, jammy wee shit, uses like a pin, most likely, pokes the bit with the SIM card in it and flicks it out, pops it back in without me realizing, in case I tried to call for help. And me being the idiot that I am, this dude's sitting there counting hundreds of pounds, like just counting hundreds of pounds, and I'm sitting there and I look at him and I make a joke. I'm like, you must make a lot of money doing this, referring to the illicit substances, and he just looks at me really smugly and goes, yeah we do. Anyway, they go off on their merry way with all of my money, and my card is gone because they threw it away when they were done with it. I can't use my phone, but I don't realize this at the time. The Australians, they want my Instagram, but for some reason my 4G isn't working, so I take it all down. That's all good. We go back to the hostel after getting the girl into the taxi and sending her on her way. Dylan got a text from her the next morning saying she was perfectly fine, which was good stuff. So I wake up the next morning and my first instinct is to say, alright, how much money do I have to do me for this trip? Like how much do I have left to spend? And I log into my online banking and none. Absolutely nothing. Any semblance of an overdraft I had. Fortunately, I have a Monzo card, so I just banged the overdraft up on that and used that for the rest of the trip. The rest of the trip was quite fun. It was great. We went to Wembley Stadium, met a few fans of the band. Dylan went on his merry way and got up to some shenanigans without me. Then we're sitting the next day, getting ready to leave to go back home, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't really like the fact that I got robbed here, so I'ma phone the police. Dylan agrees with this sentiment, and he says, okay, but we don't really have the time now, so do it when you're back in Belfast. So I phone the police after getting a bollocking from my dad, and they tell me to contact my bank. So I go through this whole rigmarole, and I figure, well, I'm a little bit annoyed that I've had all my money stolen. So basically in the statement that I gave, I was relatively vague about what money had been taken and explained the situation, and I ended up with the £20 back in my account. Realistically, you know, I was £20 up. I've made £20 from this situation. Really not that bad an outcome. But yeah, that was the trip to London and my poor experience. But I mean, the whole experience was pleasant. Like, down to the mugging itself that I didn't even realize was going on was pleasant. Now in hindsight, it could have went a lot worse. For example, anytime during the time that they were taking my money or tampering with my phone, had I clocked on and tried to do something about it, which, you know, a few pints in you, you're not going to be pleased about it. There is a pretty good chance I could have gotten very hurt by the two lads. I don't know if they would have done anything. They might not have, but the sheer fact that they could have is a little ropey looking back on it. Also, the entire next day, I was basically without contact to anyone. So if something had happened while I was at the stadium or on my way back, I would have had no real way of letting anyone know. I got off quite lucky, so if you're ever in an area you don't know that well, just be careful. Not that many people have the, quite frankly, absurd amount of luck that I end up accumulating. But just, if you enjoyed the video and you want to see more from me, hit the subscribe button and the like button. Really helps out a lot. If you didn't like it, the dislike button is always there. And either way, just give me some feedback in the comments. And as always, my name's Connell. This is the Utanium, and see you.